Hello and welcome to episode 8 of season 2 of Unlimited Opinions. I'm Adam Bishop.
I'm Mark Bishop.
And of course we're reading Jake Jackson's World Myths and Legends. And this time we're covering the Chinese Tales of the Five Emperors. It's a very interesting section. What do you think overall of this reading?
A lot of random animals and characters, or it seemed to be to me. But,
I think there's some reason behind it. Yeah, I think there's some symbolism behind these things. So we'll see.
Educate me. But we are live and in person in the same room for the first time this season.
Mm-hmm. For a very long time, I guess 7 weeks. It's been 7 episodes, but it's been more weeks than that since we've recorded together.
That's right.
But yes.
Good to be in the same room.
Yes, and so now I don't have to worry about accidentally cutting you off on Zoom because that kind of happens a lot.
Does it really?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Because it like fades you in. Oh. And so like if I'm talking, you're like much quieter and I can't quite hear you until I pause. And so it's like I'm not sure if you're talking or not.
Yeah, and I haven't been able to do an effective color commentary with your summaries because I'm not able to interrupt you.
Yes.
You're so into it.
It's unfortunate because now you get to interrupt me. So this will be fantastic. And so we start off with the tale of the Yellow Emperor's earthly kingdom. After he had grown 25 months in his mother's womb, Huang Ti was born.
Well, shouldn't we tell the listener?
Oh my God! Already, first sentence
that there are stories of 5 emperors. We haven't really summarized that there's 5 emperors.
I think that was summarized when I said that we are covering the tales of the 5 emperors.
Yeah, but they're all colored. They have different colors.
They do have different colors
associated with them, and then ultimately, I guess, if I remember correctly, the red one was defeated by yellow. Mm-hmm. And then I guess he didn't have a land after that.
No, he did. No, he wasn't killed. No.
So there are 5 regions?
There are 5 regions. And I think they all, 4 of them go to like the cardinal points of the compass, and then 1 is in the center, I believe.
Oh, that's okay. So it's a fiery red emperor, yellow emperor.
There's a green emperor.
Brother.
Yes.
There's a white emperor.
There's a white emperor.
A black emperor. And a green emperor.
Yes, thank you for summarizing before we've even started discussing the stories. Thank you.
But isn't that what we should do?
I mean, sure, but I think these are mostly like the origin stories of these 5 emperors.
Right.
So we'll see. Yes.
Right. So we should tell them that there's red, yellow, white, black, and green.
Okay. Sure.
Now we're going to start with yellow.
Yes, so starting with yellow. His name is Huang Ti, and as I said, he had grown 25 months in his mother's womb, and he was the son of the god of thunder. And as soon as he was born, he could speak, and he had 4 faces, and they were all very determined and full of leadership. And when he grew to manhood, he befriended every known spirit bird. So when the 5 most powerful gods decided to explore the earth, they decided one of them should be appointed the leader. Huang Ti seemed a certain choice, but his half-brother, the Red Emperor, the god of fire, was displeased and launched one of the fiercest battles ever against the Yellow Emperor. And Huang Ti's allies of wolves, leopards, bears, and birds of prey slew all of the Red Emperor's forces. Huang Ti, the Yellow Emperor, was then acknowledged as the supreme ruler and built a magnificent residence at the top of Mount Kunlun. The front entrance faced east and was guarded by the Kaiming, who had 9 human faces and the body of a panther. The gardens of the palace, which housed precious pearl and jade trees, were guarded by the god Li Zhu, who had 3 heads, and one of those heads was awake at all times to keep proper watch. And the Yellow Emperor loved to sit in the hanging garden and look out on the world. And it says here, kind of describes what he sees. As he looked below him, he saw the reviving spring of Yaoshui flowing jubilantly into the crystal clear waters of the Yaoqi Lake. To the west, he saw the great emerald trees swaying delicately in the breeze, shedding a carpet of jewels on the earth beneath them. When he looked northwards, his eyes were fixed upon the towering outline of Mount Zhupi, where eagles and hawks soared merrily before their rest. The Yellow Emperor saw that all of this was good, and knew that he would spend many happy years taking care of the earth.
Why do you think there's so many characters with multiple faces and heads?
I don't know. That was interesting to me, too, with the sort of... It happens a lot in these stories with just the many faces.
Right. And do you think that's like 4 separate faces, or is it just 4 expressions? Or is it like they has 4, like, faces? Like
I think especially with the Yellow Emperor, I think it would be 4 separate faces because, I think he is in the center, so each one would point a different direction of the compass.
Interesting.
And so that's kind of what he does when he sits in the hanging gardens as he looks out in each direction and sees, what's out there.
Huh. A lot of references to birds, spirit birds, and all these Chinese myths and stuff.
Yes.
I like it. Pretty cool.
Yes. Moving on to the story of the fiery emperor and the first grain.
I guess they seem to, all these myths, or maybe not all of them, but certainly the god of thunder is very similar to, I guess, Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Mm-hmm. I would think so.
Yeah.
Yes. So the Fiery Emperor, or the Red Emperor, ruled the south, and he had the head of an ox, and was the god of the sun, and he was loved by his people, despite, the terrible battle that he led them into against the Yellow Emperor. He taught them how to control fire and cook, and forge weapons, and he ordered his people to set fire to the undergrowth to drive away all of the dangerous and harmful creatures, thereby keeping them safe.
Seemed to be a very practical god.
Yes, he was.
Basically got them all how to cultivate food,
Mm-hmm.
to forge metal,
Yes.
and to get rid of all these, bad creatures in the undergrowth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Most effective god. So but then he just decided he was going to go to war.
Yes. When he first appeared on Earth, he noticed that there wasn't enough fruit to sustain humanity, and so he taught them how to plow the ground, and cultivate soil, and he then told them to pray for a new and abundant food. A red bird then flew over and dropped 9 seedlings, which the Fiery Emperor commanded the sun to shine on, causing the plants to multiply rapidly, thereby creating grain. The Red Emperor then taught them how to set up market stalls and barter, and he was still not satisfied with what he had done, and so he lashed a number of the plants with his whip, endowing them with healing properties for the people to use whenever they were overcome with disease. The people were overjoyed, and so named him the Divine Peasant, and they built a cauldron for boiling herbs in his honor in the Shenfu Mountains. This was very interesting to me because, this Fiery Emperor in the first story we read, he seems like a god of war. Mm-hmm. That seems like kind of the direction that he was going in with, like, his first big action is just to attack the main leader. But it's really, not at all what he turns out to be. It's kind of like really threw me for a twist. It's like he's actually the most helpful of the gods so far.
Right.
Which is fascinating.
Which would explain their loyalty to him after the disastrous war when they were almost all wiped out, I guess.
Yeah, would make sense. Yes.
I'd be loyal to Guy.
Would you?
If he's the one that taught us all how to cultivate food and forge instruments of iron and metal and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be pretty helpful.
I don't know what could be more helpful than that. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about all you need, actually.
Everything flows from that, I would think. Yeah,
but I would assume, that would make sense.
I wonder what all these other gods are doing.
I guess
looking upon their kingdoms.
Yes, they're very, very practical to just look at things.
Well, yeah, why do you think he had a head of an ox, of all things?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess it would make sense with, like, plowing and that sort of thing to cultivate the soil. Right. That's what I can think of, but I don't know.
A beast of burden.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So next we move into the story of the bird in the sea. The Fiery Emperor had 3 daughters, but his youngest daughter was his favorite, and she was named Nuwa after the great goddess. So this isn't the same Nuwa we heard about last time creating humanity, but this is just a daughter named in her honor. Mm-hmm. So one day, searching for some amusement, she boarded a boat, and it soon carried her far out to sea. There, the winds picked up and a storm arose, and Nuwa was sadly drowned. Her spirit was very angry that she had drowned, and she spotted a Jingwei bird flying overhead, and her spirit occupied it, living on in that form ever since. She then decided that she was going to fill up the sea with anything that she could find, and so over time she dropped pebbles and twigs and leaves into the water. This is a very tiring practice, and she did not get very far at all. The sea soon laughed at her, saying that she'll never accomplish her task. The Jingwei said that she'd never stop even if it took 100 million years, even to the end of time, and so the Jingwei birds still do this to this day. So what'd you think of that story?
It seemed kind of pointless to me. I'm wondering what the reason for all this is. I mean, are there birds that drop
I'm guessing, yeah. These are just like some sort of seabirds that I guess would drop pebbles and sticks into the sea, and they needed a reason for that to happen.
So I have 2 questions. Why do you care? And secondly, why are these stupid birds dropping stuff in the ocean?
I can't answer either of those questions, to be honest with you.
I guess I need to prepare better next time because I'm so ignorant as to what's going on in China and their myths and even their society or anything. I think I need to look this stuff up because it's an interest. I mean, it's a cute little story, but I'm wondering what's the point?
Yeah.
Other than to explain stupid birds dropping stuff.
I mean, I think that's kind of the stem of a lot of myths. Like, before they come into, like, big epic tales, it's just, why is that thing happening in the world? And it's like, well, that bird must be angry at the sea. Well, why is that bird angry at the sea? Well, it must have the spirit of a human. Yes. And so you just kind of build up off of that. And so I think that's where a lot of these stem from. Yeah. And just some of them get developed further into wars and battles and whole pantheons. This is what I would assume. Yeah. But I'm no mythologist, of course. So then we move on to
Is there such a thing as a mythologist?
Yeah, you can study mythology.
I mean,
I don't know if
is that what it's
mythologist
called?
is the right word. I know you can be a classicist. That's someone who studies specifically Greek and Roman mythology. 'Cause you study the classics.
I think you should become a mythologist.
A mythologist. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think. We then move on to the story of Tai Hao, the Green Emperor. A beautiful young mortal named Hua Zhu, lived in the inaccessible land of Huazushi, whose inhabitants were known as partial gods and had incredible powers beyond any other mortal. One day she was walking through the marshes of thunder when she spotted an enormous footprint in the ground, and she stepped into it. And as she did so, a vibration traveled through her body, and she soon found herself to be pregnant. After 9 months, she gave birth to a son with the face of a man and the body of a snake, and he was named Tai Hao, the god of the East and the Green Emperor, and everybody believed him to be the son of the god of thunder.
Again, combination of a beast and a human, being
Yes.
a snake body.
Yes, what I thought was interesting is, back when we were talking about African mythology, a very similar thing happened with the snake man, Gihili, I think his name was, but it's entirely the opposite reaction that the people had to Gihili because his father tried to kill him.
Right.
But in this story, it's a snake man, and everybody praises him. They think he's some sort of miracle and a god, and all of the elders give him this very honorable name of Tai Hao. So it's interesting just sort of how that's different between these two cultures. Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
You don't know? No ideas? No, I have no idea.
I have no opinion.
I don't know. I guess there would be...
Evidently, my opinions are limited.
Yes. Oh,
I thought they were unlimited.
you thought this is the one thing you do not have an opinion on. This one specific thing.
Why the African myth involving the half snake man,
Yes.
the snake man, and then the Chinese myth, snake man, is they're somehow treated differently. Well,
If I had to guess...
how did the first guy become a snake man? He was like there was a long gestation, just like this wasn't, or this was
This was not. No.
But that was the other guy.
Yes.
And then he came out. I'm just wondering what's the difference in the stories?
If I had to guess, it would be because, animals, I think, took a different role in these two mythologies. I think, with Chinese mythology of these, spirit animals and that sort of thing, where animals are kind of worshipped, I think in that particular African mythology, animals were more of a threat, I would say, instead of they were something to be admired.
Yeah, feared rather than worshipped. Or like all these stories seem to, the birds are either spirit gods or very spirit-like, or at least helpful in battling the wars with the gods, as opposed to a conniving little snake that's gonna bite you in the jungle or something.
Yes, it's very true. Yes.
All right, now I have an opinion on it.
Yeah, you do have. We fixed it. All the problems are solved. You finally have unlimited opinions.
You've given me that opinion.
Yes.
And I share it now.
Good. I'm so glad I could do that for you. We now move on.
So no, wait, we've now covered yellow, red, and green.
Yes, yellow, red, and green.
All right.
We now move on to Xiao Hao, the son of the morning star. Now, Xiao Hao's mother worked as a weaver in the Palace of Heaven, and she liked to cruise through the Milky Way on a raft made of pure silver.
I think this is my favorite little story.
Really?
Yeah, it's just kind of pretty.
It was a neat story. Yes, very pretty.
I envisioned the whole thing in my mind.
Yeah,
It was just sailing along,
it's very nice.
cruising through the Milky Way in a raft of silver.
Yes, it's very nice. And on these journeys, she would rest under a 10,000-foot tall mulberry tree, whose berries would grant the one who ate them immortality. And while she was sitting under this tree, a young star god named Morning Star came to her, and they immediately fell in love, and they crafted a white jade turtle dove, which they set on the raft as a symbol of their love. And they soon had a son named Xiao Hao, the White Emperor, who became god of the West.
That's probably the most pleasant story
Yes.
of all the origins.
Nothing bad happens. It's
Yes.
only good things. And
Not yet. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to the White Emperor.
yes. But yeah, it's very pleasant, very soothing.
I guess that's what you'd call white privilege.
Oh my god. That was a terrible joke.
Always have it easy.
Thank you. Fantastic.
All right, moving along.
Moving on to Zhuanzu, the Emperor of the North. Now, the Yellow Emperor had a very disappointing son named Changyi, who committed a terrible crime and was banished from the Yellow Emperor's kingdom.
I wonder what that crime was.
Yeah, I know, it doesn't say. It's so bad that it's just indescribable, apparently.
Yes.
So after a time, Chang Yi had a son with beady eyes and a pig snout, who somehow found a wife named Ah Nu, and they had a son named Xuanzu, the Yellow Emperor's great-grandson, who became the ruler of the north.
I like that it says by some form of miracle.
Yes. This horrible pig guy, yeah, somehow, yeah. And so Xuanzu, after the Yellow Emperor's battle with Chiyou, which we'll talk about in a minute, was looking for a successor, and everyone agreed it should be Xuanzu. And so Xuanzu believed that in order for there to be peace, humanity and the gods must be separated entirely, and he destroyed the ladder between heaven and earth that connected the mortals to the immortals.
That reminded me again of the African ladder.
Yes, where there was a rope.
Oh, rope.
I think it was a rope. Might have been a ladder. I think it was a rope.
There was some sort of path.
There was some sort of path that was let down, yes. And so the god Chong was then made ruler of heaven, and he ensured that no more immortals descended to earth. And the god Li and his son Yi were put in charge of earth. And so Xuanzu then banished all cruel instruments of war, and he forbade women to stand in the way of men, and he punished a brother and sister severely who were man and wife. When Xuanzu died, the world was a much more peaceful place, and the elements despaired at his death. But legend says that Xuanzu was swept away by water, and his upper half transformed into a fish, so he could always watch humanity's progress. Mm-hmm. So that is the 5th emperor. That was, I guess, the Black Emperor.
Yes.
Yes.
Now he's a fish.
He is now a fish, yes.
So he's watching us with his half fish body.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I didn't understand the one Yi had the face of a human, but his feet grew out of his head to form a fan-shaped bridge to the heavens. I didn't understand.
Yes, I did not understand. Yeah,
I couldn't visualize it.
That was bizarre.
I'll have to Google a picture of Yi.
Yi, yes.
Face of a human with feet out of his head.
Uh-huh. What's interesting to me, sort of these like 5 colors, pointing to 5 points on a compass and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. There's kind of theories that's like how a lot of directions were named, where they were named after colors. That's why we have like the Black Sea and the Red Sea, because, the color of the waters don't have any relation to like, the name of the sea, but it's like black would have been, north, and red would have been east or west, depending on the people who named that sea. And so that's kind of like, a theory about that's how things worked, which I just thought was interesting.
What are the other colors?
I don't know. I could not tell you.
I thought there was a Black Sea because the water appeared dark.
It could be that too, but I don't know if that's the case.
Like deep and dark thought.
Maybe. I don't know. But then,
well, that reminds me of the Black River in Missouri. It's crystal clear.
Really?
It's beautiful. It has like a pebble. What do you call that? Like what's the ground underneath the river?
A bed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
But like the Merrimack is muddy, and I just thought when I went canoeing on the Black River years ago, I was expecting it to be murky.
Yeah.
Like the muddy Mississippi or something. It was beautiful, crystal clear. You see all the way down. You see the fish below you and the gravel bed underneath.
Yeah.
Very, very pretty.
This isn't too related, but kind of talking about colors. We learned something in my linguistics class the other day, which I thought was interesting. And kind of how different languages look at colors. And so there's like a universal kind of structure for, how many color terms you have. You have these specific color terms. So like there's some languages that only have terms for black and white. And so everything else is, if it's red, it's blood white. If it's green, it's leaf black. And so it's like the lighter colors are just, object white or object black. And so it's like goes that whole way down. If you have 3 colors, it's either black, white, or red. If you have 4, it's either black, white, red, yellow, or black, white, red, yellow, and bleen, which is a combination of blue and green. So it's, they don't differentiate between blue and green. It'd just be, leaf bleen or water bleen, that sort of thing. And so it's, kind of makes me wonder if, the Chinese people at this time only had 5 colors. Mm-hmm. Although, I guess that doesn't, no, that doesn't make too much sense.
Why?
Black, white, red, yellow, blue, and green. So there's no blue emperor. Who am I missing? Black, white, red, yellow.
There's the yellow, there's the white, there's a green, there's
red,
a black, and there's a red.
Oh, black, white, red, yellow, green. Oh, that does work. Yeah, that is 5.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess it makes me wonder. Yeah, it's very confused because that's one of the structures you can have. I guess it would be bleen, not blue, not specifically green, but it kind of makes me wonder, did they just have 5 color terms?
Yeah.
And so these would be, the 5 gods of the 5 colors.
That would make a lot of sense.
So we're kind of unique in just the amount of color terms that we have. We have pink, we have brown, we have, gray as basic color terms. It's not light black, or it's not, light red, it's pink.
I blame Crayola. We have at least 64 separate color names. I would think.
Well, I don't know if that's true, because some of them,
some of them are blue green, but they'll
the
be
difference
aqua. They'll be teal. I mean, we have primary names for a whole lot of colors.
That's true, but there is a distinction that you make, like if it's like a subset of blue. You don't technically describe that. There's a certain set of rules that, like, would somebody define this as a different color rather than just a subset of a color? Like, would a native speaker say that, cerulean is not a type of blue?
Cerulean? I don't know if I've ever heard
Cerulean's like a light blue.
Sounds
it's a Crayola crayon. And so it's like, you wouldn't say blue is a subset of cerulean. Nobody would say that. You'd always say cerulean's a subset of blue, and so that's like what a native speaker would say.
Yeah, is teal a subset of blue?
I don't know.
Or green?
I don't know. That's a good question. But
aqua?
Russian has a specific color term for light blue. And so they wouldn't say that, like we have pink and red. A lot of people would say pink and red are different, but they would say blue and light blue are completely different.
Huh.
Yeah. That's just, linguistic color theory for you.
That is wild.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So it kind of like makes you think, like, do other people just inherently look at the world differently simply because of, like, the words that they use?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some of that.
Yeah. So it's just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's and it would seem to be almost unknowable how that would affect an individual or society.
Yes, because we can never think outside of that. We can never, look at something, because I'm never going to look at the grass and I'm never going to say, well, that's leaf black.
You'd think that you'd be able to study it somehow or understand it, but boy, that'd be tough. Yeah, because we can understand foreign concepts.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't. I guess you're going to find out if people have really studied that in depth, whether those kind of language differences have really. Don't you have a theory that languages can kind of alter history, or affect how societies develop, just how they communicate about things?
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me that?
I think so.
One of your theories.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I know that, like, those languages has been cataloged. Like, there's like an actual website you can go to and you can say, languages with only 2 color terms, and it'll pop up with like a list of, like, all over the map of, languages that have specifically 2 color terms and that sort of thing. So, but I don't know if they've been studied, like how they actually impact society.
I think that would be an interesting field, and almost, I wonder, I just don't know how you would be able to study the cause and effect.
Yeah.
But it would be fascinating to kind of look at a society generally and how they view different things linguistically, and then look at their history and see if there's some sort of correlation or logical connection between them.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
Work on that.
I will. That's exactly what I'll do. Thank you.
I think you probably will.
I might. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, so now we're moving on.
I wonder if we would be a more peaceful world if we all spoke the same primary language from birth.
That's a good question.
Or if we'd be more warlike. Is it better that we have different languages from birth? Because it certainly, I think it's established that your brain is hardwired differently to communicate that language. It's harder for somebody to learn. It would be harder for me to learn a new language than it would be for a 4-year-old.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Yeah, there's like a specific cutoff point where it just gets very, very hard to actually learn new languages.
Right.
But yeah, I think, just my personal opinion, I think we'd be more peaceful if everybody spoke the same language.
I think then we should just focus on conquering the world and make them speak English.
Yep.
Just for the benefit of everybody.
Yes, that's the way to achieve peace, is to conquer.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think that's a lot of
peace through war.
Yes. I mean, sure. Sure. That is an idea.
There's some truth to it. I mean, the only way you can get peace, when Hitler's at your doorstep, is through war.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Which is sad, but
yes.
But I don't think you get a whole lot of public support for war to conquer to make everybody else speak your language. I think
No.
a hard sell.
That'd be a very hard sell, unfortunately.
Good. It's good that it'd be a hard sell.
Also, I've just noticed your shirt. Does that say, who is that? Is that,
Oh, it says, good enough, and it's mediocrities.
oh God, that's horrible.
Mediocrities.
Yes, I get it. Yes, because it's like Socrates, but he's mediocre.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
good
good enough. Yeah.
And I think it actually is the image of what is believed to be Socrates, like from
I think so.
from a sculpture.
Yeah. Which reminds me of T-shirts. We do have a winner.
Oh my gosh, we were supposed to design that this weekend.
That's all right. We can do that distantly.
Yeah, we'll have to do that remotely.
But yeah, somebody did tweet at us. Somebody followed us at capital U, lowercase LMTD, opinions with the capital O. It has been tweeting at us.
You'll have to what do you call that? A DM, or you have to get a private message to get the guy's address, because we'll use the logo, and we'll have to. I'm a T-shirt aficionado. So, what's the guy's name? I can't remember.
I think it's. I don't know if we should just publicly say it. I mean, he's publicly commented on our
that's
Twitter,
what I was
but
gonna say. We have to announce the winner, because otherwise the contest would seem corrupt.
That's because everybody's dying to be a part of this. His name was, just give me a second to check.
But I have certain standards for T-shirts, and I think we'll have to make a number of them, because to make one you can do it, but it's like $20 to make one, but it's like $40 to make 10. Something.
Exactly.
So we'll have to get our T-shirts that we'll wear around town and stuff.
Yes, his name is Richard Emerson, which I thought that's what it was, but I didn't want to just say the wrong name. But yeah, Richard Emerson, you have won our beautiful T-shirt that we have not designed yet, and I think he's going through and listening to every single episode. So in 2 months from now, he'll listen to this episode and be amazed that he's won.
Yes, it'll be world famous.
Yes, but I did reply to him saying that yes, you did in fact win. Yeah.
Yes, great.
Yes.
So you'll have to get his address if he's willing to give it. If he is not, then we'll go on. We'll have to pick it.
Yeah, we'll wait another year for somebody else to tweet at us. Yes, exactly.
Or he could just give us any address, if he wants to retain his anonymity, it could be a P.O. box or something. Ship it to whatever address he wants.
Yes. So let's hope it's not overseas.
Why? We could do
that. That'd be more expensive.
Well, yeah, but it's not that much more expensive. It'd be worth it.
Yes, for our fan.
We have an international fan.
Yes, exactly.
To recognize our biggest fan, Richard Emerson.
Yes.
Which really, the biggest mystery of that is why he's listening to this and what is wrong with him. We certainly don't want to put our return address on it, because he's probably so nut.
You shouldn't say that. He's going to listen.
Dang it. Oh, no. All right. Congratulations to Richard.
Yes. So going back to the book after that 15-minute complete sidetrack conversation, we're getting the story of how Chiyou actually challenged the Yellow Emperor. And so Chiyou was a friend of Huang Ti before he became the Yellow Emperor. But when the Yellow Emperor rose to power, he became incredibly jealous of Huang Ti's power. So Chiyou was the eldest of 72 brothers, who were huge and had the bodies of hooved animals, and they liked to eat metal and were skilled at weapon making.
Tough dudes, I guess.
Yeah, it's very, very intimidating.
Stones and chunks of metal.
Yes. And so Chiyou and his brothers descended on the fiery emperor, who had witnessed too much war in his life and soon fled, not wanting to fight again, and he left the south open for Chiyou to take over. So then the barbarian human tribes called the Miao then joined Chiyou's ranks to fight the Yellow Emperor. The Yellow Emperor first tried to reason with Chiyou, but he was convinced that war was the only way, and so the Yellow Emperor led his armies of gods, ghosts, bears, leopards, and tigers on Chiyou's army. Let me flip the page, taking me forever, yes. And so Chiyou then conjured a thick fog, which confused the Yellow Emperor's army, causing the animals to flee directly into the hands of the enemy. So while his army was completely disorganized, a little god named Feng Hao, who was renowned for his intelligence, then designed a compass-like device to guide the army out of the fog entirely. The emperor then planned to use the dragon Ying Long to create a flood to overwhelm Chiyou, but Chiyou had already called upon the masters of wind and rain to overwhelm the emperor's army. So in a desperate final measure, the emperor called his daughter Ba, who had the ability to generate heat, and she generated so much heat that she evaporated the rain entirely, causing the sun to shine on the field, enabling Ying Long to charge forward and crush much of the enemy. However, the morale of the emperor's army was incredibly low, and so he sent out 2 of his warriors to find the beast of the Luoba Mountains. And this beast resembled a great hornless ox, and it could spit lightning. And so he told them to skin the creature. And so they did so, and the emperor fashioned a great drum with its skin across a great bamboo frame, but he could not beat the drum loud enough. So again, he sent his 2 warriors out to find the god of thunder Lai Shen, who was peacefully sleeping, and he told them to steal his thigh bones to use as drumsticks, and they did so.
I'm wondering why he didn't notice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I also want to know how they got the dude that spits lightning.
Yes.
How they managed to get him. What if they short circuited him or something?
They unplugged him. Yeah.
Do something. He spits lightning.
I think this is a very much condensed version of the story. I'm sure in the original myths there's pages and pages about how they unplugged the ox.
I'm very interested in that story.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating.
I'd like to see the ox that spits lightning.
Yes. And
Pow!
so they had these thigh bones in this drum, and the drum was beat 9 times, and it created a terrible noise, causing Chiyou's army to tremble in fear, and they were quickly overwhelmed, and Chiyou called for them to fall back. However, he still had one last ally, the Kuafu giants, who revived his army and prepared for the next attack. So that's the first half of that story. And I'm sure this is one of the ones that you thought was relatively random,
yeah,
if I had to guess.
All these different characters coming and going. You gotta get this and that. You got the drum, and then, it's convoluted.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why they had to go through all these things instead of just fighting it out.
What I think it is it's kind of a representation of nature, in a way. It's everything they do represents a storm or like a natural disaster, essentially. You have the thick fog, and the only way to get out of the fog is to, use your intelligence. And then, with the wind and the rain, and the only way to overcome that was with, heat and the sun. It's kind of like just a battle between all these elements. And again, I think that big drum actually just sort of represents like the storm itself, because it's made up of the lightning ox and then the god of thunder. So I think that's, kind of where all that's coming from.
Oh, there you go. That makes a lot more sense.
Yes. Any other thoughts on that, or is that's it? That's it. Okay.
Moving along.
So in the second half, the Yellow Emperor returns to the heavens. And so Chiyou recovered with the giants for 3 days and 3 nights, and both sides seemed evenly matched in this terrible battle that was to come. So the Yellow Emperor was sitting in his hanging garden when a mysterious goddess appeared, and she named herself the Goddess of the 9th Heaven, and she gave him a new sword of shiny red copper, saying that if he treated it with respect, its magic powers would never fail him. The Emperor then won battle after battle with his sword and the strategies that the goddess had taught him, and Chiyou was soon captured.
It's much like Excalibur.
Yes, the magic sword.
The magic sword, and the 3 days of rest. 3 is the magic number.
Yes.
A lot of recurring themes in human history and mythology.
Yes, absolutely. But as Chiyou was captured, he showed no remorse, and so the Yellow Emperor saw no choice but to sentence him to death. Chiyou then struggled so fiercely that his manacles and chains were stained crimson with his blood, but he was soon killed, and his manacles were tossed into the wilderness, where they became maple trees that turned bright red every year in the memory of this terrible god.
And now every fall I'm going to be thinking of Chiyou.
Yes, Chiyou and his horrible, bloody handcuffs.
Yeah.
Yes. And so the Yellow Emperor then taught humans how to construct houses, make music, and write, and humanity wanted the Emperor with them forever. But after a time, a divine dragon soon came down from heaven and beckoned the Yellow Emperor up with him. So he climbed onto the dragon's back and rode up to take his position as the crowned head of the celestial realms. That is how the Tales of the 5 Emperors ends.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yes, that was a good section. I really enjoyed that. Kind of all these assorted, I guess, somewhat random stories, but I guess they kind of all fit in some capacity to an overall sort of structure.
I have a prediction.
You have a prediction?
Yeah, next fall we'll be hiking in the woods. The maple trees will have turned, and I will say, that there is where they buried Chiyou.
And I will. Nobody else will get it besides me, and I will just groan, and it'll be a whole production.
Because everybody will be like, "What are you talking about?
What is Chiyou? What do you mean?"
Chi me? No, Chiyou.
Terrible joke.
So, what do you think of the Chinese myths so far?
I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
I think they're really neat. I think there's a lot of interesting symbolism in there, especially with all the colors. I think there's a lot of interesting numbers
Yeah.
With 72 and 3
Right.
and 10,000 appears several times throughout these stories, which is just interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of how they explain everything. It's sort of interesting in that it's somewhat, opposite just geographically to kind of, Western Europe, which is kind of the myths that I'm most familiar with, just kind of, how everything goes towards the east instead of towards the west. All of the mystery is eastward. All the gods are, sort of up instead of, I don't know. It's just interesting, the geography is how it shapes mythology, I think.
Well, these myths, and of course, this part of the book is longer, but they seem more all-encompassing, more developed than what is summarized in the African myths or the Celtic myths. It's like it's a creation of everything and explaining a lot of different things. Seems to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was kind of explained in the introduction, just with how long the history of China is and how developed it really was compared to the rest of the world at the time, and just sort of the societal structure that enabled them to sort of come together and actually formulate these grand epic myths over thousands of years, really.
Yeah, right. Hundreds and hundreds, certainly.
Yeah.
They're different. And I'm enjoying reading them, learning about them.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, I didn't think I would enjoy this book.
Really?
At the beginning.
Really?
And at the beginning, I didn't really enjoy it that much.
Really?
But the Chinese stuff is bringing me around.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I wonder if these myths are well known in China and Chinese culture.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I know there was of course, there's a huge upheaval during the Cultural Revolution and all that. To create a new mythology and a new society, really.
Yeah.
Brutal way. So
I can ask some of the Chinese exchange students at college.
Do you have some Chinese exchange students there?
Yeah, there's quite a few actually.
In your program or that kind of stuff?
Not specifically in my program, but there's a lot of them at Truman, just in general. I think they're like our biggest country for exchange students, actually.
Huh.
So, which is interesting.
Yeah, I wonder how that would come up in conversation.
Yeah,
hey, are you Chinese?
I think that's a fast way to get me kicked off of campus.
It's a good way to insult somebody who's Korean.
Yeah.
Because I know there's physical differences, the nationalities, but I generally know them, but I could easily make a mistake.
Yeah.
It'd be you don't want to insult anybody and that type of thing.
Get Title IX and kicked off of campus.
Well, yeah, that kind of thing too.
Yeah,
but I don't.
But yeah, just generally insulting people,
rude,
being mean. Yeah,
right.
is not good. Also,
you should always have a purpose behind your being.
Yes, it should not. I shouldn't just abstractly be mean. I should be
no.
mean with a goal.
Yes, you don't want to be randomly mean.
Yes,
it has to be mean with a purpose.
It has to be targeted.
That is fatherly advice.
It's not the chaotic evil. It's the organized evil, in a way.
I agree. I think chaotic evil is counterproductive.
Yes.
So it should be focused. If you're going to be evil, you got to do it right.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, all right. Well, that was episode 8 of season 2 of Unlimited Opinions. I've been Adam Bishop.
I'm still Mark Bishop.
Yes, and you can follow us on Twitter, just like one other person has.
Why don't, instead of saying like the uppercase and lowercase, why don't you just say because I don't think the uppercase, lowercase matters.
I think it does.
Well, if they just put in those letters.
Okay.
What are the letters? Because you confuse me when you say uppercase this and that. So I don't even know what it is. I follow it. But,
okay.
So what is
I've said this for like a year, and you don't know what the handle is. ULMTD.
Yes.
OPINIONS. Capital U, lowercase LMTD. Opinions with a capital O.
I'm just completely forgotten.
Now you've forgotten.
Well, if they just search Unlimited Opinions.
Yes.
It's probably going to come up. Like if they're on Twitter.
Okay, let me test this. Let me test this.
Unlimited Opinions in the search. It's going to pop up.
Let me test.
I think that's how I found it.
Oh, you didn't even remember?
I don't know what it is.
Okay, let me search Twitter. Unlimited Opinions. Let's see if it does pop up.
Yeah.
Although that might just be because I already follow it. Although
possibly.
But yeah, just search Unlimited Opinions on Twitter.
Right.
You can follow us there. You can also find us on any other streaming platform, basically.
Or you can
Spotify,
find my Twitter, which I never tweet.
Yes.
Although I did tweet once last week. So
really?
I broke my personal.
Oh, I think I follow you. I didn't even think I saw you tweet.
Well, I responded to someone else's tweet, so I don't know if that
appear.
comes up. But That's Bishop Festus.
Yes, Bishop Festus. Do you want people to follow you?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Then why are you?
And if I think I don't. Is there a way for me to keep people from following me? If there is,
I think
I'm
you're
going to
private.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want people to follow me. I don't want people to know what I think or what I say.
That's
So
fantastic.
we've decided to do a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think your Twitter account is
sorry.
private, so you're good.
Good.
Yes.
So no one knows who I am. I'm a mysterious Twitter lurker.
Yes, but this has been Unlimited Opinions. I tried to end this episode like 2 minutes ago, but yeah.
You did end the episode?
No. I tried to, but then you just kept talking.
Oh.
So yeah, so this has been Unlimited Opinions. I've been Adam Bishop.
We already did this.
But yeah, but they,
I'm still Mark Bishop.
Yes, you're still Mark Bishop.
All right.
You're always going to be Mark Bishop.
Okay. Good. Am I?
Well, yeah, I think so. Well, how would that change? Just
I guess it wouldn't.
yeah.
Well, I'd die.
Well, you die,
then
but
would
you'd
I
still
still
be
be me?
yeah, you'd still be you.
You are Hugh. That's a line from What's Up, Doc with Barbara Streisand.
Oh,
She was a brilliant comedic actress
Really?
back in the day. You haven't seen that movie?
I don't think so.
What's Up, Doc? With the plaid bag of rocks, plaid bag of diamonds, plaid bag of money. The best chase scene in movie history.
No, I think
involving a Chinese dragon.
Really?
You've never seen this?
No, I've never seen it.
We have to watch it next when you're back in town for Thanksgiving. We're going to watch What's Up.
That reminds me, we should probably record some of these in person again next week.
I agree. But that's a recommendation to our listener. What's
Yes.
Up, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
Great movie. Great dry sense of humor, and a funny chase scene, and a very funny courtroom scene.
Really?
Anyway, one of the characters' name is Hugh, and one of the characters is always befuddled by things, and he says, "I am Hugh," and he says, "You are me? No, I am Hugh. You are you. I am you." No.
You know, Hugh is a notoriously hard name for French people to pronounce because all of the letters in that name would be silent in French. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's good.
I enjoyed that.
I enjoy that. That's pretty good.
All right, we'll end on that note.
Yes, we'll end on that note. This is the end cap that's gone on for
End
a long
cap?
time. Yeah, I always put something after the outro music.
Oh, okay.
Do you not listen to the podcast?
Of course not. I'm in it. Why would I listen to me?
I've been asking myself the same thing.